Hi, it's me, it's Monica, and this is a video that I am calling The Power of Being a Girl. So there's a little story I'm going to tell you about a girl that I know, and a little something funny that happened that is the reason that prompted me to make this video. But before I get into that, I kind of wanted to touch base a little bit on, what that would mean for a trans girl, right? The power of being a girl. So I have a goddaughter who means the world to me, right? This little girl, there is nothing in the world that I would not do for her, right? Love her to death unconditionally. She's never asked me for anything. She's, basically in her early teenage years at this point, which is, it's kind of difficult for me because, she's starting to get a little bit older and we're seeing her grow up, and we miss, of course, when she was, when she was a baby. But one of the things that I know that this little girl has been taught all her life by her mother, by her grandparents, by me, by the strong ladies in my life. All her life growing up, she has been taught to be strong and independent, an independent thinker, to be powerful, to take advantage of all of her gifts in life, take advantage of everything that she's learned and the person that she is, right? And so one of the things that you kind of learn as you start, to live more as female, if you're trans, right? If you're male to female and you've, grown up as a male and you start living as female, or you kind of transition into that life, you really understand the other side of, the power of being a girl, right? So when I'm a teenage boy and I'm dating girls, everything happens at their pace. They're the ones that's making the decision about, how our relationship goes, how long it lasts, what happens during the relationship. Being a proper gentleman, that's up to her, right? Well, when you start, living as trans, what you kind of realize is that, if you're dating guys or you're interacting with guys, right, basically you're the one that has that power, right? And I think that when you're born a girl and you grow up and you live as a girl, right, basically you have the women in your life from as long back as you can remember, right? Before you can remember your earliest memories, explaining to you this power that you have as a girl, right? And, to be strong, be independent, to be assertive, to be, who you need to be in the world to make your way, in the world, right? In a man's world. I hate to say that, but, we all know it's true, right? We all know, male presidents, white male presidents, look at world leaders. It's still very rare for a woman to be a world leader. It's a man's world, right? And so you teach your young girl, we've been teaching, our goddaughter, how to live and operate in that man's world, right? But when you're trans and you grow up as a boy, nobody's teaching you that, right? Nobody's teaching you the power of being a girl or the power of being a woman that you have, because you're not. You're growing up as a boy. You're growing up as a little boy. You're growing up as a teenage boy. So if you transition a little bit later in life, you've never really been taught that. You've never had those lessons, right? You may have given those lessons, which like I have, but it's something that happens later in life. It's not something that's instilled in you since like the very beginning, right? So I want to say, I was wanted to just make a video to talk about, the power of being a girl, and to say like, okay, so if you're trans and male to female, or somebody who's trans and male to female, it's something that they have to come to grips with, that they come to realize. It can be fun, it can be, I hate to say naughty, but it can be naughty. But it all just can be, a different circumstance. I'm just saying that if you're born female and you live your life as female, you're taught the power of being a girl all your life. When you're trans and you transition, or you start living, as female, at that point you start to notice it, and maybe you knew about it before, but you really come to grips to understanding the power of being a girl, right? So now that being said, I wanted to tell you the story that prompted me to make this video. So there's a girl that I know. She's probably about 10, 11 years younger than me. She was visiting. Don't get me wrong, beautiful, gorgeous redhead girl. At this point that this is going on, she was, I think, 17 or 18, and she was out with me and my wife, and we were out at a bar. We snuck her into a bar because we were obviously old enough to get into a bar at that time. But she was wanting to go out, and she was spending time with us because she was here, on vacation. And we said, oh well, why don't we take you out? We'll go to one of the places that we hang out. It's usually pretty fun. We can have a couple drinks and just kind of hang out. And with her not being 21 yet and us being able to sneak her in, she was really excited about that, really looking forward to it, right? So we go to this bar. That's not too far from our house. So we hang out. It's kind of like a restaurant and a bar. It's not like picture like a nice Mexican style restaurant that also has a bar, right? And so that's where we're hanging out. We're sitting there, we're drinking, and so my wife is sitting there to my left. I'm sitting in the middle, and my friend, she's sitting to the right of us. And I couldn't even tell you like how many guys were coming up to her, right? How many guys were coming up to her. She obviously didn't look 16 or 17. She looked a lot older. People are assuming she's older because she's in a bar, actually having a drink because she's drinking with us. And of course, we're a little older, so they're probably assuming she's, a little older than she actually was, right? So I'm saying, these guys like mid-20s, maybe into their 30s, are coming up to her and they're not realizing how old she is, right? And, she's loving it. She's playing it off like, she's teasing these guys. She's just totally messing with them. Not necessarily flirting with them. I mean, like just blatantly teasing them, and they're just taking it because she's a gorgeous, gorgeous girl, right? And so anyways, at one point, the guys are coming up, offering to buy her a drink, trying to talk to her, she's kind of blowing them off, she's teasing them, she's, kind of ignoring them at the same time she's talking to us. And of course, me and my wife are just watching this, just like having a blast, like, just thinking it's the funniest thing in the world, just watching her do this to guy after guy after guy after guy after guy, right? So then finally this one guy comes up, like probably about, mid to late 20s, good looking guy, like total just like suit, tie, just tell like, he looked like he was, not necessarily well off, but like he was taking care of himself, you know what I mean? Somebody that really took care of himself, cared how he looked. He was very respectful to her. But he basically walks up with a, champagne flute. And I hate to say this was before that time where you kind of couldn't take a drink from somebody, you know what I mean? Like now somebody walks up to you with a drink and you're like, hey, but back then it was a little different, right? Somebody could walk up to you and hand you a drink and you would drink it because you didn't think anything of it, right? And so this guy walks up with a champagne flute and basically hands it to her and says, oh, I got you a glass of champagne. I saw you, I keep seeing these guys coming up and chatting with you and trying to talk to you. And he goes, I'm single and I think you're beautiful and you seem like a really nice girl. I hear you talking to your friends, and I just wanted to basically just bring you a drink, and I brought you this glass of champagne, and just wanted to introduce myself and say hi to you. And so basically, at that point, she takes the glass of champagne, she takes a sip of it, and she tells him, she goes, you know what I really like with my champagne? I like strawberries. She's like, when I have champagne, I love to have strawberries, right? We're in a Mexican restaurant. And this dude walks off, not joking you, about 3 or 4 minutes later, here he comes with a plate from the kitchen with like 2 strawberries, just like perfectly sliced. So this guy who didn't work at the restaurant, I don't know, maybe he knew somebody that worked at the restaurant, but literally my friend said, hey, I would like to have some strawberries. And he went in the back to the kitchen and got someone back there to find him 2 strawberries and cut them perfectly and put them in a plate so that he could bring them out to this girl. And to me, that just symbolizes the power of being a girl right there, right? That to me is just one of those stories that I tell people, one of those things that I will always remember, where when somebody says, okay, who has the upper hand or who really has the power in the relationship, et cetera, I don't want to get into the yes, who's right, who's wrong, or whatever. But to me, that is just a glaring example of one of the ways that a girl has power, that women have power over men, right? To just literally have this dude that she met like 2 minutes ago go through all of that trouble to get her some strawberries because she wanted to have strawberries with her champagne. So anyways, just thought I'd tell that story. I thought I'd talk a little bit about how when you're born a girl and you grow up as a girl, how it is different than when you transition. Not saying we're not female, I'm not saying we're not, any of those things, but what I'm saying is it is different. You don't grow up learning the power of being a girl. When you're little, you learn it later in life. And so I just wanted to talk about that and, kind of use that to share the story that is one of those stories that I just love to tell because I think it's just so cute. It's one of those fun things. She never called the guy. He gave her his number. She lived in Texas. We lived in California, so and the guy was probably, what would that be, about 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 years older than her. So I mean, she still was, I think she was actually still a senior in high school, so it's not like she would have, but anyways, which is funny because about 4 or 5 years later, she brought a guy with her and he was like 20 years older than her. So anyways, just kind of one of those funny things. But hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed my story. I know it's kind of a rambling story, but it's one of those ones that I like to tell, and I hope that you get a kick out of it. So feel free to reach out to me, comment below, reach out to me, DM, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, VK, YouTube, Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram. I just post pictures, and I don't really do a lot of interacting on there, but it's nice to have Instagram followers. You can see all of my pictures and links to my videos and things like that, and then also kind of interact with some of my followers as well. So I love you all. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed my story. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you're still with me here at the end, thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing from you and interacting with you soon.